of a public service announcement just to let you know that, brothers are dealing with certain things, certain experiences that others don't really think about. And I think it's important that we keep this in mind. So shout out to the brother who sent this to me. He's willing to share his story. And I wanted to make sure you guys know what kinds of things take place. And if you are so willing to send your stories in to me, I will, of course, keep them anonymous. But my goal is to make sure that these stories are told. One of the things they do is they really kind of liberate other brothers for, who've had similar experiences. Once you tell your story, it gives them license to tell theirs. So I would say my email address you can hit me at is Hasan@thasanjohnson.org. Hasan is Hasan, so it's one S. So Hasan@thasanjohnson.org, and you can go ahead and email the story in. So the story I'll share with you is what I was sent today, as a matter of fact. And this brother sent me a story he experienced about sleep rape. I've talked about this before. A lot of people don't know what it is, but I'll let his story tell you. So he said, woke up to a body on top of him and a warm feeling. Said had to throw her off and leave. So I had made a post where I was talking about, on Facebook actually, where I was talking about, this kind of experience of sleep rape, where you may be violated in your sleep. And brothers know that sometimes in the morning, the soldier is fully erect and you're not conscious in the slightest, right? And there are people that will take advantage of that to dire effect. So he says, woke up to a body on top of me and a warm feeling, had to throw her off and leave. That's not the end of it. He said, I grew gray hairs after that. 6 weeks later, she texted me and said she was pregnant. I know I didn't let one off because I was still up, but I was still up. But I thought pre-cum may have done it. We met up and had a discussion. I asked her, what is she going to do? She had plans before this situation. I didn't think I had a choice. So if she kept the baby, I was going to do my best. I have strict beliefs in parenting. So a custody battle went through my mind. She got mad at my questioning on what to do moving forward and stormed off. Now, see, this is interesting because a lot of people I talk to will come up, and say things like, well, if a man got her pregnant and that was just his irresponsibility. Not always. Not always. Sometimes it's more a matter of, she may have taken advantage of him in a vulnerable state. So what happens if you have impregnated somebody when they have actually violated you? And there have been known cases of this. There have been articles I've read over the years. One man experienced it in his dorm. He was in a gendered, kind of neutral dorm. I forget, co-ed dorm, excuse me. And, he woke up and one of the women that lived down the hall was straddling him and had him inside her when he was already asleep. Another man in an apartment building, I want to say in Seattle, woke up and one of his neighbors had broken into his house. This was a black woman and she had straddled him and he woke up with her riding him. Now, despite how that might be the initial story in a porn, it takes on a very different effect when you may have impregnated somebody that you didn't even mean to have sex with, right? Whole different story. So when you talk about the impact of her having the decision as to whether or not she wants to have the baby or not have the baby, these have dire effects on men. And let's not even talk about child support. Again, you may not have even wanted to have sex with this person. So let's continue. He said, she got mad at my questioning on what to do moving forward and stormed off. She told me that she was going to the doctor to confirm it. And I asked her to let me know. And that was the last time I heard from her regarding that. I tried a couple times each month for 3 months to know what's going on. Nothing. I stopped after 6 months waiting for a court date for child support. A year and some change later, I get a text from her apologizing for lying and claiming hurt people hurt people. The text was from a different number. I ignored red flags in the beginnings before this even happened. I started searching how much a kid costs from birth to 18, wondering how I can afford $300,000, thinking about moving out and getting a bigger place. I was in my early 20s at the time. Maybe this stuff don't make other brothers panic, but I see the horror stories literally in my life. The other thing is that I work in a female-dominated environment. You can use my story. I have more stories starting from childhood, being groped by my math teacher, a black woman in her 50s, and from there, groping from women through my years. I'm an introvert for context. So he's basically letting us know that this violation was only one type of violation. There were others. But had these stories happen with women, it'd be received much differently. For men, not a lot of resources, not a lot of support. And, the dominant interpretation of these events in terms of sexual vulnerability doesn't generally apply to men. So that said, take this kind of story to heart. Think about it. Think about it in terms of yourself. Think about it in terms of your sons, your mentees. Let them know that these kind of things can happen. Be very much on guard. And again, feel free to send me your stories. I will keep you anonymous, but I do want to share the kind of things that may really kind of prepare Black men for possibilities that we're not taught about on a regular basis. Again, the email is Hasan@thasanjohnson.org. And we can go from there. Shout out.